those leaves and mix it in water, 1 to 2 ounces in a quart of water.
Okay.
Then you take about 2 ounces and you inject it up in your rectum and you hold it. Well, don't even worry about it, because once you put it in there, it's not enough to make you go to the bathroom.
Okay.
1 or 2 ounces is not going to make you want to go to the bathroom.
Oh.
And your body will absorb it in.
Because you said about it being so toxic, I think it's better to use it down there than.
I do both. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, are we ready? Yeah. Okay, so we talked about the pokeweed. Remember now, try to get the young tender leaves. Pokeweed probably grow around here. This is a similar climate where I live. I would think it should grow here. I don't know if somebody, you hadn't seen any. Are you familiar with it? Okay. But anyway, take the tender leaves, juice them, 1 to 2 ounces, and mix it in 1 liter of water. If you cannot get the live poke plants, then you have to get poke root powder.
Powder.
You can get the powder. And you can use it the same way. And now we're talking about the periwinkle. The rosy periwinkle, how that it has been quite successful and had 95% cure rate by switching to the periwinkle. There's 2 types of periwinkle, Van Blasten and Van Christen. And Van Blasten has increased the chances of surviving breast cancer and childhood leukemia from 10% to 95%, while Van Christen is used for Hodgkin disease. So they're both are real effective in that department. And they talked about in the field of medicine, no herb has received the success as the periwinkle. It has at least 70 known alkaloids that have demonstrated medical value. It can also be used for blood sugar and high blood pressure. These are just people that have had cancer. Some have survived, some haven't. And now where we stopped at before our break, we was talking about the pH. And we was looking at the baking soda protocol for changing the pH from acid to alkaline. We use baking soda, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and DMSO. Oxygen sometimes cannot get into the normal cells. Understand how baking soda works. For a variety of reasons, sufficient oxygen sometimes cannot get into the normal cells. The cells must have oxygen to be able to function properly. This may be because microbes get into the cells, or something is preventing the oxygen from getting into the cells, such as trans fatty acids sticking to the side of the cells. So if you consume a lot of trans fatty acids, the oxygen cannot get in, and that could hinder the cells from assimilating enough oxygen. When the level of oxygen that get into a normal cell become too low, the normal cell will revert to become anaerobic.
Trans fatty acid, is it meat? Meat fat? Animal fat? Trans fatty acid?
Well, no, it can be plant-based too. Yeah, a lot of your can be, especially if you're cooking with oils and sugar, like donuts, cookies, stuff like that going to be high in trans fatty acids. So now, what I just read, I'm going to explain how it is. Macros can get into the cells. Here you can see the microbes getting into the cells. And if the microbes get in, they can prevent or hinder the cells from taking up oxygen. Now we'll see what I'm talking about. If sufficient oxygen cannot get into the cell, and that's because you're taking on so many of these microbes or fatty acids. Now the oxygen cannot get in. So when they cannot get in, their cells going to be sickly, and those cells will probably die prematurely. This one is talking about the fatty acids. Fatty acids can coat the cells and prevent oxygen from getting into the cells. A Nobel Peace Prize was awarded for proving that cancer cells are more anaerobic, meaning they do not burn oxygen, but rather ferment glucose in order to get their energy. So cells should burn their oxygen along with nutrients. But cancer cells don't do that. They go through a fermentation process. And so they use a different way of making energy. Over 75 years ago, Dr. Otto Warburg published a Nobel Peace winning paper describing the environment of the cancer cell. A normal cells undergo an adverse change when it can no longer take up oxygen to convert glucose into energy by oxidation. In the absence of oxygen, the cell reverts to a primitive nutritional program to sustain life, converting glucose by fermentation. Lactic acids produced by fermentation lowers the cell pH balance and destroy the ability of the DNA and RNA to control cell division. Cancer cells begin to multiply unchecked. Lactic acids simultaneously cause intense local pain and destroy cellular enzymes.
Excuse me. So when the nutrients ferment in the cells, that's when it causes lactic acid.
That's right.
Okay.
You're right. So now we know we need to get the system back alkaline to some degree. One source would be lime or lemon. In order for the body to function properly, the homeostatic or the pH must be maintained. So the question is lemon juice acidic, acid, or alkaline? That's the question. Is lemon juice, is it acid or alkaline?
It's
Alkaline.
It's alkaline. It is. So now, but outside of the body, it's a citric acid. When you agree to that.
Yes.
Oranges are citric acid. Lemon, grapefruit, they're all citric acid. But when you ingest it, it converts to what? Alkalinity. And so basically what takes place is with a lemon, I'll get on the board and try to show you what I'm talking about. I'll try to show you what I'm talking about. Let's see. Okay. So when you're taking a lemon, just take that's a person right there. When you eat the lemon, okay? Now, out here, this is an acid. This is a citric acid. It comes into the mouth, right here, and it's going to meet an alkaline, the alkalinity of the mouth. The saliva gland is alkaline. Can everybody see that if I'm standing in the way? Right here. Inside of the mouth here, the acid meets the alkalinity, and it converts this to alkaline. It comes down the esophagus into the stomach, and the lemon meet the acidity of the stomach. So now, when this lemon is broken down, it's going to throw out the acid. The acid of this lemon is released. The alkalinity of this lemon is retained. The pens ain't doing so good with me.
There's some
Out of the table.
Okay. Do it like this. So I put in the red, that's the acidity of the lemon. And this is the alkalinity. Alkalinity of the lemon. Now, what's going to take place? Now, like I said, this is a citric acid. But when you consume it, it's going to convert to an alkalinity.
Mm-hmm.
So we know citric acid means acid, but a lemon is alkaline forming. What takes place is this come down, the acidity is taken on down and expelled out the colon. Is expelled out the colon. The alkalinity is retained in the blood and in the digestion system. So it extracts the acidity of the citric acid. It removes the citric acid, but it retains the alkalinity, making it alkaline form. Do I need to explain that better? This is a citric acid. It is not alkaline. It's a high, strong acid. Once it comes into the body, it meets a chemical change. As it comes down into the stomach, the gastric juices in the stomach breaks it down, separate the citric acids from the alkalinity of this lemon. It throws away the acidity. You urinate it out, you sweat it out, you have bowel movement, you get rid of the acidity. It retains the alkalinity. So in the end, it makes it alkaline form. So can you understand that now?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, it is alkaline forming, but outside the body, it's acidic. So the pH of lemons are incredibly alkaline food. Yes, they are acidic on their own, but inside of our body, they are alkaline. That's because the acidity is separated from it. That's when your eliminatory organs going to get rid of the acidity. Urinate it out, sweat it out, breathe it out. But it keeps the alkalinity behind. Is lemon water the same as alkaline water? Now people are purchasing alkaline machines that cost a lot of money because they know the value of having your system alkaline. But if you compare the difference between lemon water with alkaline water, you're going to find that you're wasting a lot of money because the lemon would do just as good a job as those alkaline machines. So lemon is most definitely alkaline forming in the body because of its very, very low sugar content and its high alkaline mineral content. Lemon actually have an alkalizing effect on the body that far succeed its citric acid content. So lemon, the alkalinity of the lemon is greater than the citric acid content. And by removing the citric acid, you leave behind the alkalinity of the lemon. Can you make alkaline water with lemons? Test the pH of your water again. After you add baking soda or drop to your purified water, test the pH of your water again using a test strip to be sure of the water's pH. So you want to check your water before you do this. See what pH it is. Then you want to add some lemon to the water and check it. And then you write down what it is, acid or alkalinity, alkaline. Then check your water you make from your alkaline machine. You'll find that the lemon can equal, in some cases better than the alkaline machine that you paid $2,000 or $3,000 for. Now looking inside of the body, this play might not play. Okay, therefore, cancer appears as a rapid growing outer cell mass with a core of dead cells. In the absence of oxygen, glucose undergoes fermentation to create lactic acids. This causes cells' pH to drop from 7.3 to 7.2 and down to 7. 7 is neutral. Anything above 7 is alkaline. Anything below 7 is acid. 7 is neutral. Okay, so if your cells do not get oxygen, it can drop from 7.3, 7.2, 7, and then 6.5. And it can keep dropping. In more advanced stages of cancer and after metastasis, the pH can drop down to 6.0 or even 5.7. That means that you're too acid. With the low pH, cancer cells can really strive. So you want to keep that pH toward what? Alkalinity. You don't want it to go down to acidity, because cancer cells really can be quite productive in a acid pH. However, because the cancer cells are burning glucose and creating lactic acid, numerous amount of energy is pulled from the non-cancerous cells. In the wasting cycle, the liver converts lactic acids to glucose, which also consume numerous amount of energy. Now let's see what effect it had. Baking soda has been proven to get into the cancer cells and when other nutrients cannot. Baking soda makes cancer cells alkaline, limiting the intake of glucose in the cells, thus starving the cells. So when the cells get plenty of glucose, they're going to be more acid, and they're going to make more energy from that glucose, or sugar. You don't want the cancer cells to have that kind of energy. By depriving them of the sugar or glucose, by giving them the baking soda, it reduced the amount of glucose they have. Consequently, lessen the amount of energy the cancer cells will have. Yes.
Making it in oil or just like pour this out from the outside baking soda?
Well, in this case, they drinking it. Baking soda work by making cancer cells highly alkaline, typically about 8.0 and above. Once it gets like that, it's going to kill cancer cells. Baking soda not only kills cancer cells, but it immediately stops the metastasis of cancer, can shrink tumor mass within weeks, and almost always stop pain of cancer within 12 to 36 hours, which is really important when you're working with cancer, because if a person is in pain, they're not going to want to do anything but stop hurting. Baking soda can reduce and even stop pain real quick. It has been observed that all pain associated with cancer disappeared within 12 to 24 hours, except in a few cases where there were morphine withdrawal problems. So if they're on morphine or codeine or oxycodone or something like that, they're going to experience pain psychologically because they're addicted to those pain medicines. So even if you can get them off, they're still going to feel the pain because mentally it's in their head.
I have a question. So we're speaking about the cancer cell and the pH of the cell, right? So the pH of the cell should be 8 or above.
It should be 7 and above.
7 and above. Yeah. So how do we determine the pH of the cell? How do we measure that? Normally we measure the blood pH. Yeah, then we can measure the urine pH. Now we know how much is the pH of the person, so that we can give the right amount of the dosage of the
Well, the first thing you do, you check, as you just said, you check with the litmus paper by checking their pH value and seeing if their pH is off. And if it is, then you start letting them take in some alkaline substance to bring it back up toward 8 or 7, 7.2 or 7.5. And if you maintain that, the system will be more alkaline. But you have to get test strips to do that.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you're going to know if their pH is elevated.
So the pH of the blood corresponds to the pH of the cell.
Well, you know, you're going to have to, with pH with the blood, you're going to do a blood test. But you can do a pH which is saliva, you can do a pH with the urine. You can do that. But that would be the easiest way to do it. Now, the next one we want to look at is the herbal ray. I'm going to stop this. My videos are not playing, and they should play, so I'm going to pause this for a quick second and start it back. I just want to check this and see why it's not playing. Okay, I'm going to start here, though I didn't play this one. I'm going to start back here. I hope that don't mess you up. But I want you to see what I'm talking about since it's playing now. So now we're going to be looking at as food or whatever it is that's ingested is coming down the esophagus. As it comes down through the peristaltic action, it falls into the stomach. Now it's going to meet the hydrochloric acid and pepsin in the stomach. Then you're going to get your contractions. It's moving now into the duodenum, which is the second stomach. Now we're looking at the mucosa the inner lining of the stomach. We can see from the mucosa that acid is being released. As the acid is being released from the mucosa, it's going to have break down whatever food entered into the stomach. If for some reason the acid is too strong, it could burn a hole in your stomach, giving you a stomach ulcer. Then you can end up with H. pylori, gastritis, or stomach ulcers. That's because the acid content was too strong. Now you're going to have to neutralize that acid by an alkaline source so that you can reduce the amount of acid in your stomach. Now we're back talking about the herbal ray.
What was the dosage of the baking soda? Baking soda, how much we should drink?
Yeah, probably no more than about a third to half a teaspoon twice a day for about 3 days, then stop taking it. Don't do it over a long period of time. I'm not a big fan of baking soda, but in a case when I'm dealing with a cancer case and it's crucial, I will use a small amount for a few days only. But I'm not an advocate of it. I don't want to make it seem like I'm advocating a lot of baking soda. It's not a very healthy product.
So, if you've got a cancer patient with those herbs we were talking about, can you treat the patient with them at the same time? Or you need to...
Now, just repeat that once again.
Let's say we are talking about the rosy periwinkle. Can you use rose periwinkle in the morning and use soda later?
Yeah.
At the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, now this is the herbal ray. Now, typically, the person would be undraped. They'd be positioned in front of the herbal ray box. We would rub them down with olive oil. Then we would spray them down with a combination of herbs, liquid tinctures, and DMSO. And then we would shoot the light into the area we want to treat. And the herbal rays would penetrate and go right inside of her body, whoever you're treating. Now, this one you'll see it a little better. So you see how his body's glowing. That's the herbal ray that's making it do that. So it's shooting through his body. It's have a very calm, relaxing effect, and it's having a very powerful effect on his immune system. This is another one. This is another type of herbal ray, but it's like she'd been burnt. And she was in a lot of pain. So we rigged it up where the light was over her bed, and that gave her a lot of relief. These herbal rays are really easy to make. I can make it herbal ray less than $100. You just need a box about that tall, about that wide, and you just mount those 3 250-watt light bulbs inside of the box. And they're infrared, they're the red light bulbs. And all 3 of the sides are closed in, but the outer surface of it, where the light shines, you don't close that in. You put something like a screen in to keep mosquitoes out. You tack that over the front so people won't touch those hot bulbs. And you position that in front of them and shine it. This is what this one looked like right here. See that white box right there? That white box? Those bulbs are inside of that box. 3 of them. And the screen is right there facing her. So it's easy to make. Anyone can make it. It's not difficult to make at all.
And the type of herbs depend on the condition of the patient. Is always the same. If it's cancer, it's always the same. Or you use
Yeah, you just use the same herbal chemo,
It's always, okay, it's the same.
but
that you
liquid.
showed before.
Make a tincture out of it. You can also use garlic. I normally take garlic and blend it up in water and then mix some DMSO in it and rub that on the chest and do the same thing. The next most powerful herb is the yew tree. The yew tree. The yew tree has made the most powerful chemo drug. It's called Taxol. I don't know if this is going to play the audio, but I'm going to try it. But anyway, she's just going through about the Taxol, how that they make it this chemo drug from this tree called yew tree, and that's the yew tree right there. It is the best drug they got going, but it's still chemo, and it has a lot of bad side effects. But what happened is the tree in itself don't have any side effects. But because it takes so much of it to make this drug, they would have to cut down all the trees, yew trees. So what the government did, decided that no, we wouldn't do that, make a synthetic copy. It is the synthetic copy that's got all the side effects. So what we are doing now, we don't harvest the bark, we simply use the leaves. And what the leaves can, replenish themselves. This is the herbal chemo. Just one of the herbal chemos. We make about 200 different types. Now in my book, cancer book, in the back of the book, it's going to have all the recipes for the herbal chemo.
Are we going to get that one?
Yeah,
I have 11 sets left on the book. Okay, so these herbs here are just one formula for the herbal chemo. Basically what this is where I'm showing that cancer cells grow their own blood vessels in order to get nourishment and oxygen. If you can prevent that from taking place, you can kill a cancer cell. And I'm not going to go through this one because I'm still working on this one. This is the one dealing with stem cells. I'm trying to make my own stem cell transplant where you can mix sunflower seeds together and cause your body to respond very simply to getting stem cell implants. But I'm still working on that. These are the different people that have went through, at times have had some serious problems. This is one where the herbal salve was used, and it just cut that tumor right off her chest. That's the front view of the same woman. And this is the tumor that fell out in her hand. This is a girl, Indian girl. She had cancer, and God blessed us to remove that big tumor off of her. This is one of the toughest ones to work with, inflammatory breast cancer. And they're hard to work with. This boy here had the largest tumor that I've ever worked with. And it was huge. It covered his whole back. But we did the right kind of poultice, poke root poultice, till we was able to really get that tumor just about all the way off his back. Now in this little series right here, you see a little white dot, look at her fingernails, you can see that her fingernail is bigger than the white dot. But as you saw yesterday, that white circle is real flesh, but the blood vessels are dried up. And that hole that you see right there is where that tumor was lodged in her breast. It has already fallen out. Now that white spot now is turning dark because it began to dissipate. Once it had done that, then the breast will heal. Any questions? So I would say that the first thing you want to do is to get you about 3 or 4 good herbs. The soursop, periwinkle, yew tree. I would definitely get that in the periwinkle. And then maybe turmeric. So we got about 4 different herbs. Make them equal strength. Then I think you would have a good, simple formula. And the end of you can make that formula and begin helping people. If there's no question, we're going to stop there.
I have one question. The black salve, you use the black salve, right? How long does it take when you put it on till it falls off, till the breast is healed? How long does this procedure take?
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because I probably should have covered that. Let's take, for instance, that's woman's breast. And we'll say that's a tumor mass right there. Now, what you want to do is first thing you want to do one about that size, I want to put about that much bloodroot or red salve, not necessarily black salve. Black salve is mostly used for skin cancer. I would say bloodroot salve or red salve. I will put it right there. Then what it's going to do, it's going to spread about right there. And it would kill that tumor. There's no time factor on when it's going to work. It's on its own time factor. It could take a few weeks, take a few months. It's just no way you can tell. I mean, it's not an exact science where you can say it's going to take X amount of days. I'm going to show you another technique that's really good. Let's say we got a tumor. Let's say that's the tumor right there. And we want to get that tumor out. And what I like to do is do this. I put dots all around. Let me do that a little bit better than that. Let me do it a little better than that. I just said that's the tumor right there. And I want to take that tumor out, but I don't want to have a big open area. So what I do is I put that salve on little dots, probably about the head side of a pencil, tip of a pencil, just little dots. But what this is going to do is going to make this go down and kill those roots on that tumor. So I don't have to have a big open area. You follow what I'm doing? Mm-hmm. Just go around it. Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, if that tumor was from the side view, if that was that tumor right there, poking out like that, I would just simply put those dots around it. Because I want to get in there and kill these roots, because this cancer, this tumor, has roots. They have roots like that. I want to kill those roots. I want to cut off, by doing that, I can kill those roots and keep them from, and it said that's the breast there. I could kill that tumor. That's the easy way of doing it. The old-fashioned way would be just like what we said. You got a tumor mass. In that tumor mass right there, you got a blood vessel, major blood vessel. And from that, you got a lot of little ones. So that's the tumor. But this tumor is living off of this major blood vessel right here. That's the one you want to get. Because it's supplying blood and nourishment to all these little ones. So what we want to do is to put a salve right there. Now it's going to beat down and take out a cavity about like that. It's going to take out one about like that. Now, but it still haven't reached that. It haven't reached that main blood vessel yet. So what we want to do? Turn around and apply it again in that same hole. Now, you might do that 2 or 3 times. It's eventually going to reach this. Once it reaches there, you're going to end up with a much larger hole, but it's going to kill this blood vessel right here. It's going to cauterize that and dry it up. When that happens, it's going to prevent the main flow of blood to this tumor. This tumor's going to die. It's going to die because it cannot get what it needs. It cannot get the oxygen. It cannot get the nourishment. It's going to die. So there are different techniques. I would say that the main thing with herbal surgery is an invasive treatment. You can get in a lot of trouble doing it. I don't advise anybody to just jump out there. The best way to deal with that is to let a person do it themselves. you instruct them and let them apply. Then you have no liability. So you tell them, you just be there and say, well, put a little right there on this spot. Put it right there. Let them actually be the one that put it on there. Don't you do it. Then that eliminates a lot of your liability. But if you place it on them, then you could get in trouble. But there's nothing wrong. Like what I'm doing now, I'm educating. There's no law against education. I'm teaching. But if I was up here actually doing it, then I would be liable for a lot of legal problems. So you can teach on anything. You can teach how to make atomic bomb, and it won't lock you up. But the minute you start making one, then they could come and get you as a terrorist. So teach this concept. Have your patients to do most of the work themselves. Because all you do is take something about the size of a little ball, roll it in a little ball, and stick it on the chest. Then put a bandage on it. That's all you do. It's nothing else but that. Just knowing where to place it, how much to place it. Get you a piece of red salve or black salve or blood root salve. Make sure you have a good pair of gloves. Roll it, nice little ball, round ball like a little marble. Stick it on the flesh. Put a bandage on it and forget about it. Yes.
I have a question. When you say that the people are doing it, they are not staying at your place. They are going home?
No, they stay at my place. They can
Okay.
they can do it at home.
Yeah.
They can come to my place.
And if there's, for example, should be a blood vessel which is bleeding, then you would put some cayenne on it.
If it's bleeding, yes.
And you are also telling this to people.
You teach them, educate them how to troubleshoot the problem. Yes. Yes.
And what is with the roots? When the cancer is coming out, what is with the roots of the cancer?
You got to kill those roots. You have to kill it because if not, it will spring back up and grow again.
Yeah.
So you've got to reach that main root, that taproot, and you got to try to kill that taproot.
Are you trying to use a stethoscope to see where the blood vessel is, which is giving the cancer some new nutrients?
I didn't understand. Repeat that.
And when you see you want to kill the main vessel, the main blood vessel, are you putting a stethoscope on the place to hear where the blood is coming? How do you find out?
You really, it's a guessing game.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The tumor gonna start dying. I mean, once you cut off that blood supply, that tumor's gonna be dead. It'll turn white,
Yeah.
then dark, and it's dead. And it start cracking and start falling out. You know you must have cut off the blood supply because it's not getting the nourishment and the oxygen. That tumor's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have you gotten all the roots? I don't know. But if you get that main blood vessel, most of that tumor gonna die. Your body can deal with the little renegade cancer cells and the little small roots. Your immune system can deal with that, but it cannot handle that main taproot is sending a lot of blood and nourishment to that tumor. Now, there's one type of salve that I really like. It's the eggplant vinegar salve. To me, it's one of the better ones because all these salves made out of bloodroot are very painful. But if you take the vinegar, take an eggplant, chop up the eggplant, put it in a bowl, a glass bowl, put vinegar in it, and let it set till it turns dark. Then beat that up to a thick cream. Let it turn dark again. You can smear that over skin cancer, and it'll burn the skin cancer off. And we're going to talk more when we start talking about salves, and how to make these up. You can take red clover. You can take 2 pounds of red clover, or 1 pound, and you can boil that in water on a slow boil till you reduce the volume by 50%. All this is in my book.
Okay.
Then After you reduce the volume about 50%, you strain off the old red clover and throw that away. You put some new red clover into the red clover tea, you reduce that volume by 50%. You strain that and throw it away. Put some more red clover in there, reduce the volume by 50%. You keep doing that until you end up with something that's going to look like black tar. That's the black salve. And you mix some other herbs in there and you make the black salve. Any other questions?
Do you use also some whole aloe to treat the wound afterwards?
You talking about like a burn? Is it aloe?
Aloe vera?
Yeah, aloe vera. Yeah, you have to. I use a lot of honey and sugar, but you can use aloe vera on there too. But I prefer honey and I prefer sugar, because sugar will go in and eat and debride old cancer tissue out of it, especially if you mix iodine in the sugar.
What kind of sugar? Just the normal?
Just a regular, no good, poisonous sugar.
White one.
It is so deadly that the cancer cells can't stand it. It's fantastic using it as a poultice, but not to consume it.
Why is it when you eat it, it's not good for the cancer, but only...
Well, I mean, it's just, it's junk food. First of all, it's been processed from beets or sugar cane. And so it's just not healthy. And it's dumped that type of sugar into your bloodstream. Can lower your immune system, could elevate your blood sugar, and can cause other problems. So you don't really need that.
Can I ask you how you apply the sugar?
Yeah, you take 1 pound of white sugar, take 1 ounce of liquid iodine, you mix that into the sugar, and you pack that in and around the wound.
Is it 1 pound?
In grams.
Gram?
No, I'm asking what are pounds in grams? Ounces in
You can
grams.
do that online if you Google it. It will correct.
Define it as
1 pound.
as a white pound, for instance.
Okay.
We can
Okay.
figure it out also.
My question is different. I'm asking what care do you give to the family members of that patient? Maybe the cancer patient or the diabetic patient. Is there any support available for them that you give?
So what do we give to the family members? Support.
Yeah.
Well, I have a service where they can call and we troubleshoot the problems from our base. They'll call and say, look, my patient is bleeding, what do I do? And I walk them through, one of my workers will walk them through what to do. So we there as a support team to help them. If the patient is not eating, which a lot of cancer patients have problems with, we tell them how to get them back to eating, what they can eat. If they can only take in a small amount of nourishment, we tell them how we can get them to eat more food. So we're there to answer their questions and walk them through what to do, and that's the support we give them. We also have a service where we can send a missionary into the home, live with the person, help the family member to be able to figure these problems out. If no question, then let us close and we'll be back this.
One more question.
Uh-huh.
But it's a different one from there's this disease called sickle cells. Do you deal with that as well?
What kind of cells?
Sickle cells.
I do work with sickle cell.
Yeah.
I work quite a bit with sickle cell. Yeah. Sickle cell principally is, the red blood cells are sickle. They're not going through hemoglobin. A sickle is like a C. It's like a C. It's like No, it's like that. And it should be more like that. So when they go through hemoglobin, this cell here is supposed to expand like that, big. When this cell goes through, it expands, but it's in a sickle. This cell can pick up more oxygen and nourishment than this cell here. When this cell do not get enough oxygen and nourishment, they go into spasms. They get angry, and say, look, I need more oxygen. That's why they have a sickle cell pain, because it's not able to get the nourishment and oxygen. This one won't do that. This one, when you go through hemoglobin, it pick up the oxygen and nourishment, go out into the body, release that, and then turn around and go back and get some more. This one here, because the sickle would not allow it to pick up enough oxygen, that's why they have that severe pain. So you have to make, and what makes this cell go through hemoglobin is the iron. In this cell here, it has iron in it. And it has oxygen in it. So with that combination of iron and oxygen, and now in the lungs it needs hydrogen. So that combination of iron, oxygen, hydrogen causes cells to expand. This cell here don't have much of that because it's sickle. So it cannot pick up enough to help the body. Now they believe that sickle cell may have come from in some parts of Africa where they were suffering from malaria a lot, and the body developed a protective mechanism from it, and that led into sickle cell. Let us have a word of prayer.
May I ask one thing? In regard to the teas, is it 1 tablespoon on 1/4 or 4/4?
Yeah, we're gonna make up some herbs. We're gonna make up some herbicine. That's in our demonstration class.
Yeah.
But we're gonna make up. They got herbs here. We're gonna make tinctures, extracts. We're gonna make tonics, and hopefully make salves, poultices. And we're going to show you how to make the herbal chemo from scratch. And then we'll tell you how much to take. Okay. All right, let us pray. Dear loving Father, once again, dear Father, thank you so much, Lord, for this session. Lord, just bless us now, Lord, as we think on these things. Let us be prepared to live in your cause. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.